Greetings. In this video, we are going to look at the basic steps in the research process. Previous video, we looked at the checklist of factors that you can consider or use to evaluate an information source. Still under our main topic, report writing, and we have said we are going to concentrate on the research report. Therefore, meaning that before you actually write the report, you need to do a research first. So that's why we are going to look at the major steps in the research process. So what this includes is what we are going to look at here are the steps outlining a simple and effective okay, let me say it this way. So the following steps we're going to look at outline a simple and effective strategy for writing a research paper. So now these two topics major basic steps in the research process, and then how to write a research paper. They are kind of somehow similar or related, or they have crossing points, but we shall look at each of them independently in their own times. So this time around we are looking at the steps in the research process, and then we shall also later on in the future time look at how to write a research paper. So we shall just look at them independently. So the steps you're going to look at outline a simple and effective strategy for writing a research paper. Depending on your familiarity with the topic and challenges you encounter along the way, you may need to rearrange these steps. So you may not basically have to follow them like I'm going to share them, but you may rearrange them, or you may do them in your own order depending on your topic and the challenges you've encountered in the process. So number one step, as you're going to do research, you have to identify and develop your topic. So this is the first step. You identify and develop your topic. Remember, as you're doing a research, you're doing this research about a particular topic. So meaning, without the topic, the research can't exist. What will you research about anyway? So you have to identify and develop your topic. So in the process of selecting it, you have to select a topic, and this process of selecting a topic can be the most challenging part of a research assignment. So since this is the very first step in writing a paper, it is vital. When I say writing a paper, I mean writing a research paper. Like I told you, these two topics kinda have crossing points, or they are kind of similar, but we shall not join them together. We shall look at each of them independently. So as I was saying, that since it is the very first step in writing a paper, it is vital that it be done correctly. It is vital that you do the developing and identification of your topic correctly. So we are going to look at some tips that you can actually use in selecting a topic. So first and foremost, you need to select a topic within the parameters set by the assignment. For example, if you're doing a research report, and this one was asked of you by your supervisor, or let's say a lecturer, and he gave you an assignment. So meaning the topic you have to select must lie within the parameters of the assignment that was given to you. Many times your instructor will give you clear guidelines as to what you can and what you cannot write about. So failure to work within these guidelines may result in a proposed paper being deemed unaccepted by your instructor. So sometimes you find that before you actually go on to make a research, or even having asked to make a research, you have to write a research proposal. So as we continue, we shall look at what a research proposal is. But just as it is proposal, it is one that you forward. This is like you're requesting and to your supervisor or your organization to actually do that research, and they will have to stand with you financially. So that is what the research proposal deals with. So that is the one that you have to write. So if you write your proposal and it is denied, then it is because you didn't work within the parameters that were given to you by your instructor. So One thing, you should select the topic that is within the parameters set by the assignment. Number two, you select a topic of personal interest to you and learn more about it. So the research for and writing of a paper will be more enjoyable if you are writing about something that you find interesting. Always if you want to do something to come out well, you should do something that you're actually interested in. So even as you're selecting a topic, you should select a topic of your personal interest, but within the field, the parameters, or that but within the parameters. Then the other thing, the third guideline will be you select a topic for which you can find a manageable amount of information. So before you say you conclude on what topic you're going to look at, you need to do a test. Maybe you can come up with a number of topics, and then you do a preliminary search of information sources to determine whether the existing sources will meet your needs for each of the particular topics you've selected. Because you may select a topic and you find that there is less information about that topic, so you have to go again and select another topic and do a preliminary search for the information sources again and see whether there are actually enough sources of information as you would need. So before you select a topic, you should make a preliminary search of information sources to determine whether the existing sources will meet your needs. If you find too much information, you may need to narrow your topic, and if you find too little, you may need to broaden your topic. What do I mean? For example, you may say, personally, before you started about this report writing, I had to sit down and make a research in addition to what I know. So, meaning you may have a the bigger topic here is report writing. Or when we say report, it is something very big. When you talk about reports, look at the different numbers of reports you get. So when you generalize at reports, you may find that there is a lot of information. So you have since the information is too much, you have to narrow it down. Maybe you narrow it down to a search report. So that is what I narrowed it down to, a search report. But when you do a preliminary research and you find that the information is little, instead you broaden. So if example, if I started with a research report and I found out that the information was little, I would have broadened and went to report writing. But since the information was just enough, I took the topic. So that is what it means when it is like you select a topic for which you can find a manageable amount of information. Then the other fourth thing is be original. That is the fourth guideline. Be original. So your instructor reads hundreds of research papers every year, and many of them are on the same topics. That is topics in the news at the time, controversial issues, subjects for which there is ample and easy to access information. But you need to stand out from your classmates or from your fellow employees by selecting an interesting and off the beaten path topic. So still you can't come up with a topic. If you still can't come up with a topic to write about, see your instructor for advice. But even when you're looking for a topic that is in an area where like I've told you, an interesting topic and off the beaten path topic, you don't need to look for something completely new. Like you find always areas of need. Like for example, we shall see when you're looking at how to come up with a research problem. So you come up with something, it may be existing, not come up with something completely new. You may maybe find a gap in let's say there is an existing debate, but then there is an area which everyone has not looked at. So you look out for that topic, or you always look out for something that has not yet been touched earlier, but not something very, very foreign. something like that, if I may say. So once you have identified your topic, it may help to state it as a question. For example, that is if we say to state it as a question, that is then we are meaning the research question, because there is a research problem and then a research question. So having got the topic, you state it into a research question. So you shall get more information as you continue following up this series of videos. So for example, if you are interested in finding out about epidemic of obesity, let's say in the Ugandan population, you might pose the question like, what are the causes of obesity in Uganda? So by posing your subject as a question, you can more easily identify the main concepts or keywords to be used in your research. So in such a question, the keyword is obesity, causes of obesity. That is the keyword. So something like that, or the key phrase, something like that. So that is the first step in the first step in the research process. Oh, I'm scared. The steps are many, yet just one step has taken about 11 minutes. I don't know how we shall handle this, but the rest are short. So we have to break this video into parts. Anyway, step 2, do a preliminary search for information, just like I've been stating earlier. Having selected the topic, you have to cut the first. Now the first step may be selecting the topics. Then you do a preliminary search for information for each of those topics. And now the topic that you find to have enough information is the one you go with. So before beginning your research in earnest, do a preliminary search to determine whether there is enough information out there for your needs and to set the context of your research. Then so in the process of doing a preliminary research, you can look up your keywords, because after having selected the research question or the topic, you look out for keywords in that topic, and then using those keywords, you look them up in the appropriate titles in the library's reference collection. Maybe if you're going to use the books, you can do that. Books such as encyclopedias and dictionaries, and in other sources such as catalog of books, periodical databases, and internet search engines. And also reserve readings, something like that. So you may find it necessary to adjust the focus of your topic in light of these resources available to you, like we've discussed earlier. Then the other step number 3, having done a preliminary research and selected your topic, let's say, which has enough information, so you have to locate the materials. You locate the materials you will use. So with the direction of your research now clear to you, you can begin locating materials on your topic. Like there are number of places where you can look for information. So you start locating those places. For example, if you're looking for books, you can do a subject search in the Alpha catalog, or you can do a keyword search. If the subject search doesn't include enough information, you can do a keyword search. So and then you will need also to write down the citation information, because you have to, like we said earlier, you have to include a citation in your paper or in your report or in your document. So you have to write the citation information, like in references you have to put that information. Like if you got it from a book, who was the author, what was the title of the book, which section of the book, you get something like that. And then you also need to locate the books you will use. If there is a certain book in the library, where is that book? And so you need to get all that information. So among the sources you can use books from libraries, you can use online databases, you can use engine searches like Google, Yahoo, and all those different sources of information. And for all that, we looked at the factors you can use to evaluate those sources of information, especially the internet. So I think that will be all for this video. Let's stop here. Next video we shall look at the remaining steps in the research process. Thank you for watching. Share and subscribe. For more, you can click the bell icon just to be notified every time I post a video, such that will be at move at the same page and you're not left behind. Thank you. Next time. Greetings. Previous video we looked at we are looking at the major we are looking at the steps, the basic steps in the research process, and we are in position to look at 3 of them. So this video we are going to look to continue and look at the rest steps in the research process, starting with the fourth, which is evaluate your sources. So evaluate your sources. So here you make use of the checklist of factors we talked about previously in the previous videos. Yeah, the checklist of factors used to evaluate the information sources. So that is what those are the factors you use to evaluate your sources, and you check for the you check so you check out on that video if you had not seen it, because your instructor expects that you will provide credible, truthful and reliable information, and you have every right to expect that the sources you are using or the sources you use are providing the same information. So you have, because your instructor expects that you provide credible, truthful and reliable information, and you yourself also, you have every right to expect that your sources provide that same information, but you have to evaluate them. So this step is especially important when you're using internet resources, many of which are regarded as less reliable, given the fact that everyone can post whatever they want. So you need to be careful with that. Then number 5, the 5th step is make notes. You make notes. So consult the resources you have chosen and note the information that will be useful in your paper, in your paper or in your research. So be sure to document all the sources you consult, every sources you use, note it down. Even if you so you have to make sure you note them, and when you're noting those particular sources, the kind of information you need to note down is the author, the title, the publisher, the URL if it is an internet article, and the other information that you need later on when you're creating a bibliography, that is during the citation of that information. So you need to collect all that information and note it down. Then the 6th step is to write your paper. So you begin to write your research paper. So you begin by organizing the information you have collected, and the next step is the rough draft, wherein you get your ideas on paper in an unfinished fashion. So this step will help you organize your ideas and determine the form your final paper will take. And after this, you will revise the draft as many times as you think necessary to create a final product to turn into your instructor, something like that. And then the other thing is that you cite your sources properly, like having selected your topic, like all those steps, like we looked at them. You have to like you've written your draft. I'm skipping all the other steps because I can't. Then having done all those steps, and now let's say you've written your draft, then you have to cite your sources properly. So you give credit where credit is due. Cite your sources. So citing or documenting the sources used in your research serves two purposes. One, it gives proper credit to the authors of the materials you used, and it also allows those who read your work to duplicate your research and locate the sources that you have listed as references. So that is important. It helps both you and the people reading the information. So you need to remember that failure to cite your sources properly is plagiarism, and plagiarism is avoidable. Then the eighth step is proofread. So the final step in the process is to proofread the paper you have created. Read through the text and check for any errors in the spelling, grammar, and punctuation, and make sure the sources you used are cited properly. So make sure the message that you want to get across to the reader has been thoroughly stated. So the additional research tips I may give you, you need to work from general to specific. Like as you're doing your research, you start with something that is general, but as you continue, make sure that you go on narrowing down, that you make it becomes clear the more you proceed. So you work from general to specific. Find the background information first, then use more specific sources, and then don't forget to print sources. Many times print materials are more easily accessed, and every bit as helpful as online resources. So just to summarize, the first step, you need to identify and develop your topic. But remember, there are a number of steps or simple steps in between there, identifying and developing your topic. Yeah, some of the things that will guide you always is the research problem. We shall look at it, the research question. So those things will help you to come up with a better topic. Then the other thing is the preliminary. Do a preliminary search for information. Like we've seen, you search out for the materials available for that topic. Are they enough? Having done that, then you locate those materials so that you can easily access them. Then the other step would be to evaluate your sources. Having located those sources or the materials, you evaluate to see whether they are trustable sources. Then having proved that, then you make notes, notes, most especially the citation information about those information sources, and then the notes that you need in your research. So having done that, so when it comes to making notes, there are other things we shall see that actually as we continue that will help you as you conduct your research, because making those notes, sometimes when you're making research, you may, depending on the topic you've selected, you may need to use primary methods of data collection or secondary methods of data collection. So if you use books, those are secondary methods. There it may be easy for you. Having done that research, then you can go on and you write your paper, the research paper. Or if you use the primary methods, then that is also another story which we shall look at as we continue. So then you write your paper. So writing a paper is some of the final procedures of your research. So you write the paper, that is, you write the first draft. So in the draft, you're just getting the information into an orderly manner, such that you prepare to get a final product out of it. And having got a final product of your data, like having got a final product from the draft, then on that final product, you cite your sources properly, because failure of citing sources is plagiarism. Then having finished that, you proofread through, and that is it. So that is how you can write your research paper. Yeah, we shall look at it in also the other way, as I told you when I was introducing this topic. Thank you. Subscribe for more content and follow up. Yeah, this channel is intended to help you in personal development, spiritual growth, and I think when it comes to personal development, from personal development you can gain financial growth. Yeah, thank you. Share with friends who may need it, and subscribe to my channel as a way of supporting me, and also helping you to access these videos with ease. Thank you. Stay tuned.